Hello, everyone. Welcome to September. Hopefully the days will get a little shorter and a little cooler as we focus this month here at Westminster St. Augustine on the importance of wisdom. Now, sometimes wisdom is not always accompanied by age, because we can always work on establishing and becoming a little bit stronger in terms of our wisdom. So I thought I'd start by sharing a brief definition of what the dictionary says and how they define wisdom. It starts off by saying wisdom is a complex thing, but you can begin to get the idea of what it is with a simple definition of wisdom. You can define wisdom as the quality of being able to use experience, knowledge, and good judgment together, all of them together to live well. And that's what we're here. One of the reasons why we're here at Westminster is so that we can all live well. So we need to challenge ourselves sometimes to be able to gain more wisdom. Now, there are several synonyms that I think are important in terms of explaining wisdom. Acumen, our experiences. Common sense plays a strong role in regards to wisdom. Foresight, intelligence, judgment, and it's coming up to the one I think is particularly important. In fact, there are two: balance, and the last one, which is known as enlightenment. And a little bit more about enlightenment. When you reach enlightenment on a subject, you have achieved complete clarity in the way you perceive the subject being you. Your extensive knowledge combined with your sound reasoning makes wise understanding and decisions possible. And I'd like to add responsible decisions possible. So today, we would like to share some more thoughts with you about wisdom with one of our very strong students of meditation. And I know that he practices regularly and tries different forms of meditation so that he can go deep within, find his center, and be able to see his cup half full as opposed to half empty in these turbulent times. So as you can see here to my right is the wonderful Justin Pipcorn. I have enjoyed working with him on meditation, and this is not planned because I really don't know what he's going to say. So we'll be the first for all of us to listen and understand why Justin enjoys meditation. Are you okay with that?
We'll try.
We'll try? Okay, well, sounds good to me. So why don't we get started?
Okay.
Why do you meditate?
Why do I meditate?
Yes.
I find that it really helps me to. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Uh,
This is live.
it helps me to escape from thinking all the time, thinking heavily, doing deep work. I'm kind of a pen and pencil guy, and I spend a lot of time with the computer. And meditation takes me away from that and gives me some rest and a chance to think through things.
Think through things. It's one of those things that you think about is yourself and moving away from those pen and pencil type of work that you're doing. Does it allow you to escape? I believe that was the key word that you used. Does it allow you to escape?
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Well, let me think about that for
Okay.
a minute.
Yes. That's fine.
You're asking me some pretty deep questions
Well, we're going to try it on.
I think that I spent most of my life living alone with a lot of fun on the weekends and things like that. But I think that the meditation just kind of leads to another branch, a little deeper thinking perhaps about things. Also, I find that there's a variation of meditation. When you asked me to do this, I was thinking, your first question was, how long have you been meditating? I was thinking to myself, I think I have been meditating about a month with you, but probably many, many years on my own in a much less knowledgeable, structured way. I find meditation very helpful when I can't go to sleep. And so your lesson about meditating lying down, this made me realize, well, maybe I've been meditating. The breath work, which I think I started on when I started in yoga, and this has expanded that and developed that.
Well, you said so many interesting things, and I'd like to go back to one of the last points that you mentioned, and that was breathing. So how has your breathing changed, and do you just change your breathing when you're meditating, or have you incorporated breathing techniques in your normal walk?
Let's see, I think that, let's take, how do you relax and really have a great night's sleep?
Okay.
Years ago, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And so I have a BiPAP machine, a 4th generation BiPAP machine. And so it regulates my breathing a bit, but I also find that at 4 o'clock in the morning, I awake from a rather nice dream, and I'm just really focused on the wrong things. And what I'm learning to do is to concentrate on my breath. And I find that I may meditate for a minute or two, gone. And I sleep till the alarm goes off.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Yes, and then it's a beautiful day.
Right, very good. So in our practice together, we have focused on different breathing techniques. And one of them was the ocean breath, or Ujjayi Pranayama. Could you explain a little bit about how you use Ujjayi Pranayama or breathing? Have you tried it a little bit more?
Well, I think that's a difficult one. I'm not sure that I can really explain that. I think the sessions, we've had one session a week, and each time it's been different. And so in that moment, I experiment and try what you're trying to show us. At any rate, that isn't answering your question.
Well, it's your response. It's perfect. So let me explain a little bit more about what we do in class.
Yes.
And you chime in, and sure to add, change, or if I said something wrong, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
What we do each Wednesday is to practice a different form of meditation. And one of the key things that we're doing is learning how to expand the breath. Expand the breath, not only just for meditation, but for life in general. So we can keep our organs supported, we can be more balanced, is one of the synonyms for wisdom, just to keep us more centered and healthy. It's all about the breath. If we go quick in and out, we are fatiguing our entire system. But by taking slow, deep breaths, it almost becomes a form of meditation itself. So we've done meditations focusing on the breath. We have done meditations focusing on a tiny object, like a ring, for instance. You take the ring, you hold it in your hand, and you think about the essence of why that object, or in the case of a ring, would be so important. And last week, we did something very unique that I practiced and learned about, probably a good 10 years ago. It's called ecstatic movement. That doesn't mean you have to know how to cha-cha, you don't have to do the twist, but you let your body just flow. Experience yourself and just be able to move. Yeah, it sounds crazy, I thought it was too, but once you get into it, it's a matter of expression, and some of those mundane things like Justin's paper and pen kind of like drift away for a couple of minutes. So come to class, we learn different techniques along the way. But let's go back to you.
Okay?
Okay, let's go back to you. So we talked a little bit about what happens to you and for you, and you also explained the experience that when you get that 4 o'clock wake up call and you find that you're not breathing the way you would like to breathe, that's one thing. But when you meditate during the day, for instance, how do you feel after you meditate?
I have experienced something when I'm leaving a class after I have meditated and I walk down the hall. The same is true of going to a yoga class or going to one of our Qigong classes. And I just feel great, and I look straight down the hall, because one of the things we do when we meditate is we get our body positioned and focus on the horizon, so to speak. And I think that says it all, and just like a new day at that point.
That's excellent, Justin. I'm so glad you feel that way after meditation. Does that take you, do you feel that way for 5 minutes, or is it an hour? Does it charm your whole day after that?
I think it affects my whole day. I'm not sure that when I wake up in the morning that I am up to 100% performance, thinking wise and everything. And so this, about 10 o'clock in the morning, I sit down and meditate, and that really sets the day out for me.
Very good, but you also said before, and I think at other times, you meditate at home during the day. Not only when you wake up, but during your time when you work and you want to take a, so to speak, a meditation break. So how many times do you think you practice meditation?
Well, that varies a good deal.
Okay.
I think that it's a matter of setting aside some time. It is a good time to just take a break. I haven't accomplished that to the degree that I think would be useful if I were to be meditating on my own. But I think the structure of the class of mid-morning, is guiding my thinking in that area.
Okay, good. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, could I tell you an experience I had?
By all means.
I was just really out of touch not out of touch, but just stressed at one point. And I think that one of the meditation sessions was joy. My daughter came down, helped me out, everything straightened out. She made all the phone calls for me because I'm very deaf and I have a hard time on the phone. And I looked up and I looked in the mirror and I said, wow, this is joy. I just really felt good. And I recognized that because we had meditated on joy, and I was prepared for that experience.
My gosh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's awesome. I like to share while he's telling the story. I like to tell a story about you. Today during a meditation practice, we talked about gratitude. And we took this little walk through a park, and we took pauses along the way to see what was going into this garden, more or less of a garden, not a park. And it was the metaphor on the cup. So you got to this little spring, and part of the meditation said, just make your hands a cup and let water flow into your hands. And then gently bring the cup up to your mouth and sip it. And my eyes went, ooh, why? Because you were doing that. And I don't know if you understood or even was aware of the fact that you had this cup in your hand and you were bringing it up to your lips, tasting the water. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So what that says to me, and you can tell me if I'm off kilter or on kilter, is that you are listening and participating, and therefore you're letting those other things slip away because you're in this moment of concentration and
Yes.
bliss. Is that correct?
Concentration is that's a very good definition of what I feel at that point.
Wonderful.
That I'm concentrating on one thing at a time, meditation, and let go of everything
Let
else.
go, let go. That's important, let go. Now, as we talked about at the beginning, this month of September focuses on wisdom. And as you know, our wonderful lifestyle living director will have wonderful things for us to do in the month of September. So as we close this conversation, Justin, I'd like to ask you, how do you associate, and you said parts of this in some of your previous responses, how do you associate meditation and wisdom in your mind? How would you define that?
I think I'm still thinking about that. I think that will be something to work on. I think that in one of your yoga sessions, we were outdoors and you had us choose and you critiqued our mantras. And so my mantra when I left was, I am curious. I am curious.
I remember that.
And curiosity, I think, guides you perhaps to search for wisdom.
That is just wonderful. Curiosity, not only about what you see in the world and around you, does it also mean you're curious about yourself and learning more about yourself?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. See, I think that is the touching point of meditation. Because you find that wisdom within yourself. You will find parts of yourself you probably didn't even know or realize that was there.
Mm-hmm.
So, in thinking, as we're all living here in Westminster, age is not a number. Don't become so associated with that chronological age, because there's always something that is there that you might not even be thinking about. That curiosity bubble will just pop. And you could become wiser, and it could be what is better known in today's vernacular, an aha moment. So, for all those people in September, may you join in meditation. As we talked about today in our meditation practice, there are free online meditations. You can play nice soft music and meditate. Find a quiet space where you can be alone, breathe, and enjoy yourself. Thank you, Justin.